Bisa dimulai, teman-teman?
Bisa, Bintang.
Ya, bisa.
Bisa.
Bisa. Apakah PowerPoint-nya sudah terlihat?
Sudah, Wi.
Sudah.
Ada.
Udah.
Udah, aku mulai ya.
Ya, Bintang.
Siap.
Alright, good afternoon everyone.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
I hope all of you in a healthy condition. So we are from group 8. Would like to present the 8th chapter, that is assessment and feedback. But before that, let us introduce ourselves first. My name is Gusti Dewi Bintang Purwani, and my friend.
My name is Wayan Suwardewi Widyastuti.
So in this chapter, we would like to bring 7 points that will be discussed. Dewi, next slide, please.
Yes.
The first is assessing learning outcomes, and then ongoing and varied assessment, teacher feedback, other types of feedback, setting learner expectation, assessment of activities, and then the last is exam and testing. Next slide, please, Dewi. All right, the first point is assessing learning outcomes. Dewi, please next the slide. Can you next the slide, Dewi?
Please wait a moment. I already tried. Wait.
Alright,
Hello,
thank you.
Bintang.
So the first point is assessing learning outcomes. So in here, performance is measured through the work product of students. And the products include assignment, tasks, papers, quizzes, project, and etc. So these are the requirements of assessing students' learning outcomes. The first, make sure that the relationship between learning outcomes and assessment is evident. And then assessment determine the degree to which learners have achieved the required learning outcomes. And the last requirements of assessing students' learning outcome is the size of and the due date for graded assignment are reasonable. Next. Right, the second point is ongoing and varied assessment. So assessing students on an ongoing base gives them opportunities to strengthen and to improve their knowledge and skills. Next, Dewi. So here, ongoing assessment provides the first is quantifiable evidence of learners' engagement and participation. And the second, it gives there is opportunities to give feedback for learners, demonstrable measurement of learner progress within the course, and then the last is an opportunity for learners to apply their knowledge and skills. Next, please. So this is multiple assessment in different forms. So the first is ongoing assessment. In here, course includes as ongoing assessment. And then graded assignment, there are special projects research, case studies, presentation, group works, and etc. Next slide, please. All right, let's move to the third topic is teacher feedback. So in here, a good feedback from teacher can promote and improves online learning. Next slide, please, Dewi. So here, there are three rules of feedback. The first is feedback expand upon the learner's knowledge, and then the second, feedback help the learners understand how to improve and progress within the course. And then the last one is clarify misconception and misunderstanding, and also to correct mistakes. Next, please. And this is the other types of feedback. First is peer-to-peer feedback. Please next. So in peer-to-peer feedback, learners achieve first their work relevant for larger audience. Means that not only relevant to the teacher, but larger audience can evaluate and comment on their work. And then learners learn how to critically assess the work of others. And then the third, it leads to self-reflection in approaching to their work. The last is multiple perspectives on the same topic may lead to richer understanding and synthesis. Can you next, Dewi? So, I'm sorry that my screen is blank. Can you hear my voice?
Yes, Bintang.
Alright, I will continue. So, this is the example of peer-to-peer feedback. As you can see on the slide, this example I took from a scientific writing course last semester. That there are the name. I'm sorry. I mean that the name of the writer of the name of the writer and then the reviewer's name. Can you next slide, please, Dewi? The second is guest feedback.
I'm sorry, Bintang. Sorry for interrupting you. Maybe you can ask the other audience to turn off their microphone so you can present your explanation, and
Alright,
the other friends
I'm
can
sorry.
hear you clearly. Thank you.
Okay. I'm sorry, I cannot see the screen because I don't know why my screen is blank, all is black, but the sound is still on. I don't know why.
You may continue.
Okay. The second is guest feedback. So, guest feedback is a feedback from guests such as an expert in the field, and it can tie the activity to rest world content for the learner. So in online course, it is easily to involve guests from anywhere in the world. Can you next, Dewi? So here is the example of guest feedback. All right, next slide, please.
Yes, already.
Okay, so the third feedback is automatic computer generated feedback. So in most LMS, it are occupied with a testing tool that enables teacher to design online tests with instantaneous feedback. So feedback that is generated automatically should be descriptive. The descriptive means that each explanation accompany each answer and the reason why learner's selection was correct and incorrect. Next, the slide, please, Dewi.
Yes, already.
So this is the example. I would like to give you example of drafting assessment and feedback plan for 2 weeks. So you can see in the first week, there is the plan, who will be give the feedback and what kind of feedback uh, that will be given. All right, can you next, please?
Yes, already, Bintang.
Now, refer to the drafting assessment and feedback. First, students should know when students know when and how they will receive the feedback from instructors. And then graded elements and are clearly distinguished from those that are ungraded. And then the last one is the relationship between graded elements and the final grade is clear. So far, is it clear? Do you understand?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, thank you. So the next, thank you. The next material will be continued by Dewi.
Okay, Bintang, thank you for the time. So before I continue my presentation, is my voice are clear enough to hear?
Yes,
Yes.
Devi.
Yes, it's good.
Okay, thank
Yes,
you.
Devi.
On the next, okay, thank you. Well, on the next part, I will continue the material from assessment and feedback is about setting learner expectation. When a teacher doing an assessment, it's not only grading the student, but through the score given to them, it's can be as their learning reflection. So, setting learner expectation is really important. So here I provide some important points in providing a grade to a student. The first is the criteria of the grading for each assignment is clear for the student, both for student or teacher. And the second one is its graded item, is explained clearly in the syllabus and accompanied by percentage designation. And the third one is the third one is grading criteria are outlined in the course syllabus. So the point number 2 and number 3 is where the grading criteria should be already attached by the teacher in the syllabus, so the student can see it clearly, so they will know in what way they will assess by the teacher from their assessment or their projects. And the fourth one is the grading criteria detail how each item score are correlates to the specific requirement for its assignment or activities. By this case, the teacher can using a rubric to help uh, to help teachers in assessing the student. And the fifth one is the ungraded items are still important to specify expectation uh, student expectation. In here, the ungraded items here means like the student pronunciation in while they are presenting. There are some uh, there are some small part, but still important for the teacher to assess the student And the last point is the graded items are recorded in the online grade book. So after all of the items, all the score in the online learning, it should be attached by the teachers in the online book. So the teachers and student can communicate toward their score. So in the next slide, I provide you the example of online grading system. book on the online learning platform. And please have a look to the following items. There are activity title, instructors, grading criteria, due date, and location, where all of the following item must be communicated to the learner for each online assignment or activity. Okay, the next part is assessment of activities. In doing assessment, it can be done in the various activities, but in here, it will be discussed from three activities. The first is from class discussion and class participation, and the second one is from group projects, and the last one is from self-assessment activity. Okay, start with class discussion and class participation. So both of class discussion or class participation, they are related each others. Means that in here, class discussion the teacher provide for the teacher, the teacher provide for the student, and class participation is the student who participate in the media that already provide by the teachers. The first point in the class discussion and class participation say that class participation in an online course is a critical support for online advancement. And the second one is, in this activity, student must be to actively contribute to online class discussion. It means that when the teachers want to assess the student through the class discussion or class participation, student the participation of student is must done by student because it is one of the requirements from the teacher to assess them through class discussion. And the last point is, in order to assess the students from class discussion or class participation, the teacher can use rubric as the tool to assess the student. And next to the next slide is I provide the example of class participation rubric. In here, in the rubric there, the criteria items, the range point should be clearly attached by the student, so it can help students and teacher know in what way the assessment will going. And please take a look from the note box where is said on the first point is class participation or class discussion occupies at least 15 until 13% of the total final grades. Means that in the final score they are 100% grade, but they are divided into some part where class participation at least take a place from 15 until 30% from the whole final score. And the second one is the criteria rubric should be clearly inform learners as to how they will be assessed on the specific assignments such as online class participation. And the second assessment of activities is through the group projects. In the group projects, the assessment can require from the teachers and peer-to-peer assessment. Means that in this group project, the teacher can can assess the students from teacher own perspective and from the group members perspective. And the second one is in grading the group project in the form of peer-to-peer assessment. It can be done by providing a peer assessment form. Means when the teacher want the student perspective to as the assessment of the final assessment of group projects, the teacher can provide the student or each member of group a peer assessment form. And the last, for the teacher assessment and feedback on team project, considering a develop a group project assessment rubric. Well, in the next slide, I provide you two example of a rubric. On my left side, it is the example of teacher rubric for group project. And the second example is the peer-to-peer rubric or peer assessment form for assessing member participation in the group project. In peer-to-peer here, the criteria or the item teacher provide by mentioning group members and some criteria. And the last assessment of activities can be done is through the self-assessment activities. The self-assessment activities is going or conducted throughout the course or during the learning activities. It is aims to enable learners to vary the pace of their learning as is appropriate to the subject matters. Mean that the use of the conducting of self-assessment is teacher used to for the student to assess their to assess student self to in what level they already understand about the material. And self in the whole assessment, the self assessment has take a place in the low percentage. In here, I provide example of self-assessment rubric. For example, I took the assessment picture from the internet, where in the course drama. In here, the teachers provide a question in what level they already understand the material. Is it whether it's excellent, good, poor, or a fail? So the student can rate themselves depending their understanding. And the last part is exam and testing. Exam and testing is one of the common ways of one of the assessment ways using by the teachers to assess to the knowledge or learning outcomes. This kind of assessment can be in the form of combination of multiple choices and essays. And this assessment or exam and testing are carried out depending upon the subject area and or how they are divisive. For example, when the teacher want to conduct a middle test, so the subject area will be stopped from the beginning until the middle part of the chapter. Well, that's all our presentation about chapter 8, discuss about assessment and feedback. Thank you so much for your attention during our presentation. And now we are going to the next session. There is discussion session. If you have any question, feel free to ask us. And here we open 3 participants. Thank you. Now I will stop the sharing. Okay. Does anyone of you have a question or have a question for our group?
May I ask you something?
May I ask Dewi?
All right, can you raise your hand because I'm confused to see the screen.
Please use the reaction
All right, Lisa, please.
Alright, can you hear my voice?
Can you speak louder?
Alright. Yeah, I tried. It's not clear?
Yes, it's clear.
Yeah. First of all, I'd like to appreciate for your guys' presentation. Well done, guys. And yeah, I have one question related to your topic. So, your group is talking about assessment and feedback, and there's several points that I've already taken notes. And my question is, do you think these all elements of assessment and feedbacks that you guys have explained should be integrated or should be involved in the learning and teaching process or online learning and teaching process? Or if you think that just some of them is necessary to be implemented, would you like to mention it and give me like a brief reason why? I think that's it. Is that understandable?
Can you repeat once again, Lisa? I'm sorry.
Okay. My question is, from those points of assessment and feedback, from your explanation, do you think all that points should be integrated and should be implemented in online learning? Or there are just some points that is much necessary? So if you think so, would you like to mention some of them and give me a reason why?
All right. Thank you for the question, Lisa. So I would like to answer Lisa's question. So from my point of view, all of the elements in assessment and feedback should be integrated in the learning process because all of them are important. Uh, I give example like peer-to-peer assessment and also guest assessment, auto-generated assessment. All of them are important because peer-to-peer assessment gives students like they feel that their work are relevant for all the audience, not only the teacher. So in here, students also can increase their motivation to learn because their friends can see their work and judge their work. So this is important. And some of them is really important are really important to integrate it in the learning process. I think that's all. Maybe Dewi can add something or the other friends.
May I
Yes, I
add
want
something?
to. Oh, yes, Diana.
Yes,
Would
I
like
think
to.
Dewi first.
Oh, okay, thank you. Now, I do also agree with Bintang, where all of the elements should be integrated, but it's back to the considering uh, depends on the situation, where as I already mentioned that the score or the assessing items is already teacher should attach in the syllabus. So in there are some following items the teacher will use in assess the student. For example, the teacher will assess the student from the discussion, from peer-to-peer assessment, or from exam or testing. I think that's all from me. Maybe Diana would like to add. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Dewi. I think I have the same point to you that no matter there are so many kinds of feedbacks, whether we apply it all of them or not. It depends on the situation, and we need to integrate it during our learning process. Maybe in certain assignment, it is appropriate to have peer-to-peer assessment and then peer-to-peer feedback, and then we will apply that kind of feedback. Or maybe if the teacher want to give the feedback to the students individually, then we can apply teachers' feedback to the students. yeah, it's right. Depends on the situation and uh, the kind of assignments that they are going to be assessed by the teachers. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Diana, for adding our statement. And maybe the next participant who want to ask to our groups, maybe please raise your hand.
I have a question.
I think
Yes.
Yuda.
Who Bintang?
I see Yuda raise his hand. Yuda, do you have
Okay.
any question?
No, because my questions is already presented by Lisa.
I have
Okay,
a
Yuda.
question.
Okay. Please, Maya.
Okay, I have a question about peer-to-peer assessment. From our own experience, that we have a partner that just have a mark in our peer assessment rubric that don't give us critic, and not all students can assess their partners seriously. They just assess and fulfill the rubric and it's done. What do you think about that case? Is it still effective to use peer-to-peer assessment if the student don't have a good partner to develop themselves? Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mayang. So maybe Bintang would like to answer or
All right. Thank you, Dewi. Thank you, Mayang, for the question. So, based on peer-to-peer, peer-to-peer feedback, it is depends on the student itself. It is depends on how much students need to learn, how much they need to improve themselves, and it is also depends on student to. It will be better if students can choose their own partner. So this is teachers' duty. I mean that let students to choose their own peer to make sure that their peer have the same I'm sorry, I would like to use bahasa. Pastikan bahwa siswa tersebut memiliki tujuan yang sama. Mereka memiliki tujuan untuk menilai pekerjaan temannya dengan cara yang sama. Jadi, jika suatu saat guru atau dosen memilih peer, maka akan ada hal yang tidak diinginkan terjadi, misalnya siswa tidak memiliki gap dengan siswa tersebut, lalu peer assessment mereka juga pasti akan kacau karena tidak adanya rasa ingin saling membantu dan juga meningkatkan kemampuan sendiri. I think that's all. Maybe the other friends have any opinion or would like to add my answer.
May I add something?
Yes, please, Diana.
yes,
Yes.
please, Diana.
I think based on Mayang's question, I think that's one of the weaknesses of peer-to-peer feedback. Whenever we apply that kind of feedback to the students, especially for the students, maybe it's a little bit difficult for them because they think that it's so hard to assess themselves, even more assess another one, especially when we think like you are my friend and I'm afraid to give assessment to you. Like we will think about how will they feel if we tell them the truth that whether their work is better or worse. But for me, a good peer will make really will do the peer assessment well. Like if they are asked to give a critique or a comment after they give like a score in that file of assessment, they have to do that. So if there's the problem that we feel that we don't get enough real feedback from our peers, one thing that you can do as a student is take an example. I and Bintang are partner. So if I think that Bintang feedbacks doesn't give any encouragement to me, and I think I need to more feedback from others, and then I will look for another friends to have to give me feedback. So it's not focused on only one student or one peer, but it can be another peers. So from all these feedbacks, I will read the feedbacks and I will determine which one is better for me as the feedback. So I can get like an encouragement in order to improve my learning process. I think that's all from me. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Diana, for your statement, and thank you, Mayang, for the question. Anyone of you would like to add something towards Mayang question?
Can I?
Yes, please, Lisa.
Yeah, what Diana and Vita have said is really true. But my side, it is more like in what I understand about peer review, is actually just to encourage in how students really understand what they have learned. So through the assignment that is given by the teacher, they are learning together. They are learning collaboratively with their peers. But it doesn't mean that teacher is just giving that peer assessment and that's it, and giving the final grade. No, but teacher is also grading a student's work or students' final assignment. So besides that, teacher also already have the score or the assessment or ongoing assessment and understanding each student, oh sorry, the potential of the student itself. So it's not merely just doing assessment in peer review or assessment, but it's also teacher roles in controlling during the learning process. So the aim of peer and peer review or peer and peer assessment is not only that is not the final result of to get the grade of the student. So I think that is my point. Students itself doesn't get any encouragement from the peers they got, but teacher can see already whether or not that student has a good potential in doing the assignment and the understanding of the student itself. So I think that is my point on this question. So it's not only about the peer assessment, but also how teacher can see students' potential during the learning process. I think that's it.
All right, Lisa, thank you so much for your adding statements. And now we open only one participation who'd like to ask to our group. Maybe you can use the reaction.
Can I?
Yes, Diana.
Is it me or Anugrah?
Yes, Diana, please. It's Diana.
Yes.
I'm sorry, Anugrah, Diana first.
Okay.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for the chance. First of all, I would like to give my appreciation to all of you, Dewi and Bintang, because you have done such a great job in delivering your presentation, and it is quite clear for me. But there is one question that I would like to ask to you, especially this is deal with kind of feedback. So I heard that you talked about guest feedback, which is for me, it's something that is new for me because before I just know about like a peer's feedback or teacher's feedback. I never heard about guest feedback. But guys, when you talk about that, I'm really interested to ask it. So my question is there any requirements that we have as a teacher if we want to uh, apply or provide guest feedback? In what situation that we can have guest feedback? Because I do believe that not every day we can involve other people beyond our students and ourselves as the teacher to involve in our learning process. So yeah, what kind of situation that we can have guest feedback, so the feedback can encourage our students. And if you are a teacher and you want to give or administer guest feedback to your students, how you will do that? Who will involve in that kind of feedback during your learning process? And also your students can get the feedback as a positive thing to them. Is that clear?
Yes, it's clear, Diana.
Yes, it's
Thank
clear,
you.
Diana.
Thank you for the question, Diana. So, guest feedback. I am as if someday I am as a teacher, I would like to involve guest feedback when there is a guest who would like to give feedback for my class. Like for example, say that I teach uh, art class. So I would like to invite an expert, maybe a pelukis. I would like to invite her or him to come to my class and then give a feedback for my students. Maybe they will learn a lot from the expert because yeah, he is or she is an expert. It would be better if they receive feedback from expert and it really possible to improve students' abilities in their field. I think that's all that I can say. Maybe Dewi would like to add.
From me, it's already the same from Bintang explanation.
Okay, one more because in online class it really possible. I mean that there are a lot of guests that we can invite to our online class because online is a more flexible with time and also place. So it will be really possible to invite a guest to give feedback for our class. Is it clear, Diana?
Can I conclude that we can have guest feedback in a certain situation? I mean, like not all things that we can apply guest feedback.
Yes. We can also
Can I add
we can.
something?
I'm sorry, who's speaking?
It's
Can
Maya.
I add something?
Okay, please, Maya.
Uh, in my opinion, guest feedback is can we use in the work of student that can be shown, such as drama, like something like that, or uh, uh, karya tulis, like cerita pendek that they can post it in YouTube or blog, and we can invite the guests, or we can uh, let people in generally to have a comment in our students' work, like because it's a huge platform that anyone can see it and anyone can give a feedback to our student. And I think that situation is the best way to conduct guest feedback. Thank you.
Thank you for adding Maya. So basically, I would like to clarify a little bit. Basically, guest feedback is a feedback that give from the expert. I mean that not all of people can give feedback as a guest. Only the expert can give that kind of feedback. So not all of people that like what you said before who comment on our video, who give feedback on our video is considered as guest feedback. Only the expert that can give feedback as a guest. I think that's all.
Thank you, Bintang, for clarifying.
Okay.
I'm understand now.
Well, thank you, Bintang.
Okay, is it
It's
clear,
clear.
Diana and all of my friends?
Yes.
Okay, I hope it is clear for all of you. I think that's all for the discussion session. Thank you for your participation during our presentation, and hope this material can give you additional knowledge. Thank you for your participation and see you.
Thank you all for your attention.
Thank you. See you.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you.